Ooh, Cube Zoom. That was a fun one. Welcome to another episode of Blockchain Basement. My name is TJ. I'm joined here with some of the elites of the Hit Network building. We've got, man, the names are confusing. We got DZ over here, Taco in the middle. We got Decker, Ali on the board. We got Drew joining us today. So Crypto Prepper, DZBTC, Decker Bobbin, Alien Taco. What is your
Discord name?
Discord name? What's your
Crypto_taco.
Crypto_taco. There it is. 01. Yeah. So going to be talking about some fun stuff today. Also, this is going to be the I've got a blown out can. I don't know if you guys can tell. So this is going to be the challenge of the day, is to not spill it. So you guys keep an eye on that one. It looks like it's just bouncing on Taco's head. So we got some interesting things to talk about today. Well, this is one of the stories we're going to hit. I wasn't going to go through all of them, but 1/3 of singles are ready to date in the metaverse today. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm going to go around the room, get some thoughts and opinions as we move through the show. We've got a video to watch of some police officers in Nevada finding a private key on somebody. It was just kind of interesting video, so we'll flip through that. I hope you're ready for audio there, Drew.
Yep.
Dogecoin flipping Coinbase. Dogecoin market cap is actually bigger than coin on the stock market's market cap. We're going to talk a little bit about that. And then the 10-year Japanese the 10-year Japanese yield bond is going up. We've got rates, basis point raise from the Bank of Japan, which hasn't happened in a really long time. And a lot of people are starting to say that's going to have some catastrophic effects on the market. I'm not big on bonds. I don't really understand it too much. We're going to dig through it and try to decipher it for ourselves. I've got about 7 different tweets that explain it a few different ways. Hopefully one of them helps, connect it for you guys in your mind. But
Brosnan's probably my favorite.
Brosnan?
Pierce.
Oh, Pierce. Yeah. Yeah. Pierce Brosnan. Awesome. Yeah. Real quick, forgot, shout out.
I'm done. Okay. Taco, you're taking it.
What were you referencing? Is it a chat thing?
Bond.
Oh, Pierce Brosnan.
Okay,
James
I feel
Bond.
a lot better now.
Yeah.
I feel a lot
There we go,
better.
there we
Now
go,
the
there we
pressure's
go.
on him for
No,
not
it took
getting
me. It took me a second, but then okay. Forgot to say hello to the chat. We've got everybody in here: Piccolo, Rick, Music Maven, 75901, Real Crypto, Crypto Tony, Stevo, Casino Doggy, Bubba's Crypto, Manawak. One of the locals, Unleashed _.com. Shout out to Naomi, Crimson Caravan Company. Love all of you guys. So we'll start with the Doge thing. Dogecoin has if we come to CoinMarketCap, let's see. We've got Dogecoin coming in right now with a market cap of 9.8 billion, basically. Where's the one here? Coinbase, coming in at 7. Oh, you can't see. Yeah, there it is, 7.9 billion. So we've got Dogecoin, officially a joke meme coin, quick fork that David Pollard has already come out and said, it was just a joke. I just did it for fun. Dogecoin, thought it would be interesting. Larger market cap. What does that say to you about the future of investing, Decker, in your opinion?
Wow. Well, that's tough, but I will say I think a lot of people are just
Hi, Corey.
I think a lot of people are just tired of the same old. Put it in this, get 8 to 10%, and you're gonna live and you're gonna like it. And you're gonna hope to get $1 million by the time you turn 60, and yada yada yada. I think people are looking for more interesting ways to make money. Yeah, Dogecoin might be a joke, but people have made money with it. Same with SHIB, same with all these things. And I think that's what people are searching for. Plus, it's a lot more fun, in my opinion. So I think that's kind of a little bit of flavors that add to that.
Yeah, I think you make great point. Taco, do you think the fun factor? Yeah, you're gonna have to lean a little bit. Do you think the fun factor matters when you're investing, or maybe which one's?
One might be easier.
Sorry.
Well, if you're not having fun making money, then what are you doing? Oh, there we go. Extendo mic. Just like Decker said, Dogecoin was kind of created as a joke, and people really like this coin and the community it's created. The founder, he kind of bashed it, or he's away from the product now, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much community ran, and in the future, if the community keeps strong and keeps building, I don't see why it couldn't continue to grow. I think it has definitely a possibility to become just one of those cryptos.
Here's why it will not continue to grow.
Thank you.
Let's hear it.
Hard take. I don't even really feel this that strongly. It is inflationary. It's very inflationary. I think it's, correct me if, is it 100 million daily?
I don't know what
50
I don't.
million?
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's strong inflation.
I do think it's obviously going to be higher than what is it at now? 7 cents, 8 cents. It will hit 10 cents. It will hit a quarter at some point. Bull market, maybe 50 cents. I don't think $1 is ever in the cards, but kind of speaks to what do some of these cryptos do. So Doge is just kind of a payment network. There's no product being delivered. There's no service being delivered. It is essentially a inflationary currency that's popular. And this currency is sure it gained a little bit of traction. You can buy Dallas Maverick tickets, but what is being built in the next 12 months? You know, so I see like just maybe a slow bleed against Satoshis until it's time for meme season. And then by all means, you know, buckle up. It's going to go up 10x, 15x, 20x. But me, I'd rather own Coinbase stock because I know what it does. It generates revenue. It's making money.
It has a utility.
Doge just inflates.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I'm glad you brought that point up. That's what I was gonna kind of reference. You hear us talk about on the morning show quite a bit, the separation between use case and utility and speculation. And right now, speculation is what drives the market. You have people, to DZ's point, the main reason people are buying Doge is to ride that pump in the future, not because they think Dogecoin is actually producing or creating or solving any major problem. Where Coinbase, it's completely volume driven. It's when the price of Bitcoin and the sentiment of Bitcoin and other crypto is going up, obviously they have a lot more transaction volume. Obviously they make a lot more money. So this is they're going to have clear ebbs and flows in their revenue, and on the stock market, it will probably be affected in the stock price. But that is a strong project in my mind. Like if you're looking I feel much better, and this might sound crazy. I feel a lot better about coin at this price than I do about random anything outside of the top 10 altcoin at the prices they're at right now, because I see coin as a really good long-term prospect in the stock market with the people that have done the best investing in blockchain and crypto up until this point have been people that have gotten equity plays into actual exchanges and partnerships and startups. I mean, it sounds bad now, things like BlockFi, things like Celsius, but also, things like Coinbase, things like Kraken, things like Gemini, people that have done, Silvergate, things like that. Infrastructure pieces within crypto that you actually have equity in that actually produce revenue, things like Coinbase, I think, and I expect Kraken to IPO probably in the next couple of years as well. And it'll probably go through something similar. Generally speaking, IPO is high. It'll probably correct down substantially and then just slowly grow over time. I do see these, you talk a lot about, I believe it's you, DZ, that mentions Marathon a decent amount. We've got Riot Blockchain. We've got a handful of public mining companies, of public, exchange and blockchain related businesses that I think are going to be a huge sector for years and years to come. And, being able to invest in those. Now, it won't be as explosive as crypto, won't be as much fun as crypto, but I do think they're more stable long-term investments. Ooh, a scary, a random taco. So yeah, I go ahead, hop in there.
It was a joke about that's a good name for a certain type of business, but I'm not going to go there.
Music Maven, first Doge, then Shiba Inu. What's next? Meowcoin. This is for the room. ApeCoin, is that considered a meme coin at this point?
Good
I'd
question.
say so.
I don't like talking about it while wearing the hat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Both of you guys have a clear bias there. I mean, Drew, what do you think? Would you put that in meme coin or not? I have my opinion, but I'll save it for last.
I think there's a little bit more than just a meme coin going on for the ApeCoin and Bored Ape Yacht Club system in general. I'm very standoffish on NFTs, but Bored Ape are the ones that I see would probably be here in the next bull runs.
Yeah, perfect. Ali, I was going to ask you this one. You've seen a lot, like he mentioned, we've got Doge was the standard, Shiba Inu came out, ApeCoin. Do you see them similar, or do you see a difference with ApeCoin compared to Doge and some of the others?
I see a difference. ApeCoin seems like, I don't know. I don't want to sound stupid.
Ape Fest. What was your experience like there?
At Ape Fest? Well, like I was going to say, I feel like ApeCoin's more useful, less of a meme.
Mm-hmm.
Has more use case.
Yeah, I agree. I think I would put it definitely in different I put, obviously ApeCoin I see as more of a metaverse play. I'd put it more with Sand. Now, again, not comparing it to Sand, but if you're going to categorize projects, I'd put it more in a Decentraland, Sand, Ape, like a metaverse building project. And so they are trying to provide utility. The utility is community and experience. And for the most part, I would say, I mean, there's jokes about like, oh, what's the utility going to be for Ape next? They're going to allow, oh, pudgy penguins can be bought with Ape. That's brand new utility. And it is, but I really think what Yuga's bringing is the utility of community and of one-of-a-kind experiences. And now they're one of the first ones doing that. So it'll be interesting to see how they keep it up over time, and if people like it's a tough game because we know the crypto audience and an NFT audience specifically is very fickle. Like you're very hard to please, and always looking for that next thing. So I'll be interested to see long term. I do believe in Yuga. I think there's a lot of really creative people, a lot of really hardworking people on that team, and I tend to agree with Gary V's take when it comes to NFT projects. They will succeed and fail based on their operators. And I think a lot of the people at Yuga are great right now, but it's still extremely new. And I'm very curious to see what's going to happen in the next, 2023 is a building year, but 24 and 25, I'll be really interested to see what happens when it comes to events, when it comes to people and personalities and all that sort of stuff. A bunch of gaming tokens from this last run brought in and had to wait on my vesting. Interesting. Not sure what that's referring to. We got a sneaky beej in here. What's he doing?
Sneaky beach.
What's he doing?
Look at him. There he is.
Oh, I thought there was something wrong with our audio or something. You were gonna come and just go. You've been muted for the whole first 10 minutes of the show. All right. Well, So do we think it's just pretty much an outlier, the Dogecoin thing, like Dogecoin being above Coinbase? I tweeted out, is this good for Dogecoin or embarrassing for Coinbase? And some people, do we think it's either, or is it just kind of a random day in the market? Anyone can jump in on that.
I'll say it's just a random day in the market. Coin just got beaten down so hard. I think it's a little bit of an overreaction. I do think that people are obviously they're slowing down their volume, slowing down their trading, but Coinbase does have assets, and their assets is their customer base. And some of us have Coinbase accounts, but guess what happens a lot of times, and the people watching at home may agree, you might get that nice initial bug in crypto, and then you kind of forget about your app for a year or two. But what do you fire up when you're back into crypto? That same Coinbase app. So we're going to see that huge resurgence of customers firing up that app again. It's going to be a year or two from now.
Yeah, I agree. I think and when it does for them, that's when the revenue comes pouring back in, and that's what's attractive to new investors. Then they buy the stock. The stock should go up. Yeah, so this was an interesting take from Andrew King, and it kind of got my head going. If Coin halves again, it will be within reach for Justin Sun Tron or CZ to outright acquire. Those with the most disciplined capital management clean up the hardest during bear markets. So now this would be obviously a pretty big twist here. We know Binance US right now in the process of making the bid for Voyager. I believe won the bid. We covered that yesterday. It looks like likely going to be also acquiring Celsius assets as well. This would be a huge twist and be something that'd be really interesting to see. What do you guys think the possibility of somebody, Coin getting to a price where some other major player just comes in and acquires it outright? What do you think, Taco?
I would be more curious as if Brian Armstrong would want that, or if he would fight to keep it under his control or in his jurisdiction.
Yeah, I do believe he's got a super majority clause to where he would have to sign off on that in order for that to go through. Great point. I doubt he would, he's not going to see Binance being a top competitor. Very unlikely he's going to sell his baby to his number one competitor. Right. He does have the veto option there. I was just curious if you get. So you're saying no, you don't think it's going to happen?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think he's going to fight to keep control. Yeah,
I tend to agree.
Yeah, I think I agree with that too.
And then the kind of reply to the comments is, one thing we've learned this cycle is that CEOs and founders don't fare well with leverage. Suzu, SBF, Barry Silbert, Brian Armstrong, ? We don't know if they have any leverage or, what their position is. Now, we do know they file everything publicly. It's a publicly traded company. Their financials are filed every quarter. They're obviously backed 1-to-1. I don't no fears of solvency or anything with them, but it is fascinating how much their stock price has been hammered over the
breaking SBF allegedly being rushed to the hospital. I saw it in the chat, so I started looking it up, and it seems to be like there might be something there. Bahama Press and whalechart.org are tweeting about this. Bahama Press is the one. Scores of police vehicles outside the Doctors Hospital off Shirley Street, where we are learning FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried was rushed into the ER following an incident. Teams are live outside the office.
Is
We'll
this
update
the
further.
Epstein moment?
An incident?
An
Oh
incident.
no!
Yeah, that's not good.
But
I
he
mean,
was in the ward because I saw part of the thing was like he was in the infirmary because of quote unquote worries of mental health.
well, yeah, and they've
It
got
could be a psychotic break from lack of meth.
could be. I mean, it,
Trucker speed. Sorry, what am I supposed to
no,
call
yeah,
it?
no, I mean it is.
Sorry, crank.
Yeah.
He could have dropped the so.
No, I mean, according to what we understand or what we've heard, he has been, like Decker was saying, was being held in the medical unit. You know, had a room by himself. Basically, the prison is known to be poor sanitation, overcrowding, bad issues. Basically, not enough food, all that sort of stuff. And he was alleged to be in his own room in the medical, ward for safety and concerns. I guess you said they cited actual insanity concerns, Decker, or mental concerns.
I believe that is what I read. Yeah, basically they kept him there over concern of mental health is what I read or remember.
Interesting.
Reading. Yeah,
Interesting.
it could have been also. I mean, to be honest, it could have been also. What a procedure? Like, they keep him for 24
safe,
hours,
Yeah, I think they were trying to not just throw him in general population.
Yeah.
He needed to have its own room, and they didn't really have one. Yeah. It's dicey him being rushed to the hospital. I
Yeah.
mean, I hope everything's
okay. I mean,
all right. Interesting.
Yeah,
I don't
need
even, I
that
don't know how to
testimony.
comment on
Yeah,
that.
you can't even really say anything.
Yeah.
'cause it's-
It'd be now. It's been such a movie so far. Like this would be the perfect time for a jailbreak if you're trying to actually break out. That's like, oh, prison transferred to the hospital, and then boom, gets hit by some kind of crazy thing, and then he's fugitive or whatever. Great movie, by the way. U.S. Marshals and wasn't it Fugitive? Was that what it was called?
The Fugitive is the first one. Then the sequel was called U.S. Marshals.
U.S. Marshals. Yeah, great movies. Great movies.
I want every doghouse, outhouse, bathhouse,
That's it.
greenhouse, search from here to the river.
Yeah,
Something like that.
that's the one. I'm torn on. Thanks for the sub or channel points.
Yeah.
I'd be
Yeah.
willing to bet that he didn't kill himself, though.
No.
I don't think he
definitely
hurt
did
himself.
not.
I think he's going to be. I mean, he's from what we're hearing, his hearing was going to continue tomorrow, and he was going to get extradited. We know he wanted to be out of there yesterday, is what he said to his attorney. I don't know what that reason is. It'll be, we'll have to keep an eye on that, see if we get more information by the end of the show. So,
Yeah.
We need that testimony.
we do.
Yeah.
We need that testimony. Not that it's going to be anything useful. It's just going to be, I don't know, I don't remember, I don't know, I don't remember, I don't have the data. That's what he's been saying the whole time. Basically, I feel like every press tour thing he's done so far has just been warm up for when he's actually speaking, directly to regulators. So,
Okay.
all right, staying on Coinbase, this is a tweet I thought was pretty interesting. Last year, Coinbase received over 12,000 requests from law enforcement to gather user information for various cases. That's 32 a day. Almost half of those requests came from the U.S. government. Strong case for self-custody. And again, this is not necessarily a surprise. The number is a little bit of a surprise at how high it is. We covered another story previously where we were looking at, like when we saw how much the government was asking Twitter for information on its users, that was pretty shocking. And we know Brian Armstrong, Coinbase, they've worked hand in hand with regulators in the U.S. government almost since inception, the entire time. And it's a little concerning when you see that they're basically, they've got full access to all your bank information, all your crypto information, as far as where you're sending and receiving. They collect, I don't know, I haven't done the KYC process on Coinbase in a long time, but I know it's gotten insane from what I hear as far as they ask all kind, they need your driver's license, your bank account, your address, your social security number, almost every information you basically have.
Fresh selfies too.
Yeah.
They make you do fresh selfies. It's unreal.
Yeah, what was it? 2021, right after the first crash from 69K, I lost my Coinbase account. I was emailing them multiple times a day. And then finally they respond to me. It was all robots, but finally I got a person. I had to do the date, my name, my signature in front of a camera. I had to submit that to them like 3-4 times. So
I had to pose as ISIS. I had to hold a gun to them and stuff. It was this whole thing. I'm looking at the numbers. It said 12,000 requests, right?
Yeah.
I looked at their number of customers. They have 73 million customers. The math, when you actually break it down, it's not that bad. It's 1 in 6,000 people.
Yeah.
That's not that crazy. If you live in a town of 100,000 people, you got 10 people doing financial crimes. You probably got 1,000 people doing financial crimes. But yeah, so 1 out of 6,000. Just don't be the shadiest out of 6,000 people, and you're good to go.
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, yes. I mean, I agree. Yes, statistically, most likely you're not going to have to worry about this. It's the premise, in my opinion, of the financial monitoring and the lack of privacy. It's the same with free speech on other platforms of when you start censoring some people, where's the line? And it's just another, in my opinion, I still agree the space needs to get better at having third-party custody services that are easy to use because people need it to be easy. Self-custody isn't easy enough right now. But I think it's just another case for self-custody. Everybody, like, if you guys are watching this chat, most of you guys are technical enough to self-custody your coins. Your grandma, probably not. And I agree. I think it was Jameson Lopp that was talking about this, or if not, it was somebody else. But he runs Casa Nodal or Casa Hodl, which is a self-custody platform. And he's basically says it's not simple enough for grandma to just take it and set it up yet. And we need those things to be in place. Because for most people, Coinbase has and is the simplest and easiest way to, onboard and kind of get from fiat to Bitcoin. But it is concerning when you see all of these informations. But again, it shouldn't be surprising to you guys. Any financial institution out there, any phone company, any internet company, any like I said, banking services company, any financial app, any phone, hardware provider, Android or Apple. They're all collecting insane amounts of data and information on you. They're all reporting and complying with their local governing bodies as their need to operate within those countries or within those markets because they're just trying to make money. And if you have to pay the government and you have to comply to make your money, they're going to keep doing it. And what the government does with the information, they'll say is on the government and on those people. So
what I want to know is who Coinbase sold my data to, because I get all these fake Coinbase emails trying to scam me.
Really?
Coinbase, who did you give my data to? I want to know because you're trying to scam people out here.
Well, it could be also 75901 said easy teacher. There are a lot of us grandparents on here. Yeah, but 75901, I don't think you're the typical grandparent. I think you are very technically capable and are capable of self-custody.
Right.
My son said he never in a million years thought I would know what Twitch was, yet alone beyond. That's my point. See, you're way ahead of the curve. So
I wanted to
job.
say something about this SBF thing. I don't want to be a bringer of not exciting news. But the Bahamas, no, it's not bad. The Bahamas press came out again and said, but we're now being updated. The SBF is at the Bahamas Department of Corrections. It is not at the doctors' hospitals. And short sources are now saying that our report is not true. So he was, and then now he's apparently at the Department of Corrections.
Weird.
That's what I'm seeing on Bahamas Press Instagram if you guys want to look at it for yourself. But
interesting.
just wanted to give that kind of update there.
Yeah, and Riddle with Pun said it wasn't necessarily Coinbase who sold your data. I get those from TrustWallet. And yeah, that's a good point. I would say if you get identified a lot of different ways as a cryptocurrency user or investor, so you'll get hit with all kinds of stuff. I got my first, it was a random text message. I think it was about Coinbase where it was like, oh, your transaction has been, got hung up. Click this link to check the status of your transaction. I knew, obviously, I wasn't doing a Coinbase transaction, so I knew it was false, but it's another scam that you're going to, like, if you're in crypto and you get a random text message that looks like support, do not click that link, guys, ever. It happens all the time. I get the Coinbase emails every day, 75901 said. So also, speaking of quick update, this was from Haley Lennon from Gemini. It looks like, if you guys had money in Coinbase Earn, it's been, withdrawals have been frozen out of the Earn program for quite some time. The financial advisor of the creditor committee has begun advocating for a plan to resolve the liquidity issues of Genesis and DCG, provide a path for the recovery of the funds. It's still in early stages and discussions are ongoing. However, we'll update you as soon as more information is available. Now, that was interesting to me because of the grayscale 20% yield stuff that we covered yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So interesting timing that they sent that out. And if that were to go through, that would provide a significant cash infusion for Digital Currency Group which also owns Genesis and would potentially solve all of those things, but it's forcing many of the holders of Grayscale shares to sell at a steep discount, which I'm sure a lot of them don't want to do right now. So I don't know. What do you think, Drew, on that play to, you're taking care of the parent and the larger industry, but you're not necessarily taking care of the best interest of some of the holders of the Grayscale Trust. But the majority, obviously, is DCG. They hold the most, and they're the ones who need this money. What do you think?
I think it's super sketchy.
Yeah, I do too.
We are at a 50% discount for GBTC right now. DCG probably is preferring to insulate Grayscale more than anything. So I think Gemini is kind of their last on the list of people that'll have room on the raft, essentially. For metaphorical terms, it's really sketchy to see that they haven't solved that loan need. The back dues that Grayscale had over to Gemini haven't been paid back. It's not a good look. It is looking grim.
Yeah.
So
it is, but if they get it done and all these problems go away, and
then it's party time.
Then it's party time, right?
Then it's straight party time.
Yeah.
But yeah, as of right now, it is something needs to. They need to come up with that emergency loan pretty badly.
Yeah, and this is again another case for self-custody, because obviously Grayscale, a third-party holder of your Bitcoin, and people that are holding these shares are tough. They're in a tough spot. Like if you get forced to sell, to take 20% back, and you didn't want to at a steep discount, like. Think about this. If you had 100 Bitcoin and you've ridden it all the way down right now, do you want to sell 20 now just because somebody else over here needs cash, or do you want to hold all your stuff and let it ride back up and sell it in the profit? You're going to want to hold. Right. And that's the problem with, you're at the decision when you're not in complete control of your assets, it can cause issues, which we're seeing kind of left and right in the industry right now. So I think 2022 was the year for insolvencies, I guess, and 2023 will be the year for self-custody. So self-custody all your assets, guys. And if you need to trade, go to the link in the description, Apex Exchange. It's a full, no KYC, fully self-custodied. You just connect your own wallet to it. You can trade. There's good liquidity, good exits, all that kind of stuff, and you don't have to trust anybody else with your coins at any point in time. I would highly recommend it. So I think I think decentralized exchanges are going to be they're going to have a huge growth in 2023. That's one of the main things I'm looking at. I think by 2024, 2025, if you're trading on Bybit, it'll be almost gone, and almost all trading that was happening on Bybit will be happening on Apex Exchange. We'll see, but that's my take. Moving on real quick here. ChatGPT is costing OpenAI an estimated $3 million a day to run. Did any of you guys know that?
No.
Isn't that
What?
insane?
I saw that. Other estimates are saying closer to $3 million per month. You can see that, but let's just assume it is. I've heard from zero. I've heard from like 1 penny to a third of a penny. So you're hearing all types of different things. It's huge because what do you think this company is going to be valued? Because the amount of information they're getting right now, they're collecting so much data.
Yeah.
It's, I've heard reports 20 billion, 100 billion. It's going to be interesting to see. But there's people, they're trying to figure out the connection with Microsoft. What is Microsoft's investment? Because there's a Microsoft angle here where they have some money behind the scenes. With,
Is it public or private?
It's a private company.
It's a private company. That's what I thought. So we know like Tesla's somewhat involved, right? Elon Musk, or is it Elon Musk is involved?
No, I don't believe. I believe they have a different AI team, if I'm not mistaken. This is they use Azure cloud computing, and that's why I think they're getting some of the Microsoft connections there.
Interesting. Sequoia, I knew. Bedrock. I thought Vitalik might have even invested in it, but let me see if I can find. I'll have to look in Microsoft.
Data, man. Data's going to be the gold.
Yeah.
In 10, 20 years, they're going to take a loss for 10 years to gather the data for what it will be worth.
I feel like data already is the goal.
I was gonna say,
you know, and like it's using the data now and analyzing the data that really pays off. You know, now we've got big machine analytics that can take all this information in and spit it back out. Let me see if I can find what Nick sent me the other day on use for.
I was talking with DZ and Justin earlier today. How long until we have a feature on, like, let's say Twitter, for example, where it's like chat just like yourself, or it's like use ChatGPT to send out your own tweet. You just give it like some keywords and it shoots out a tweet for you. It'll be implemented into all of these social medias.
Oh, it's
along
coming.
with commenting. You could comment with Chat GPT.
Yeah, I've been playing with it and testing it for when it comes to YouTube stuff. I think you guys on this basement channel will see some of that stuff coming soon. It's definitely, yes, it has insane amounts of Twitter potential. Obviously, it's been trained using a lot of Twitter data and ingesting a lot of that when it comes for human interaction and stuff. So I've got this video here. I was blown away. Have any of you, did you know anything about Whisper at all? Have any of you guys played with? I knew Dolly and I knew ChatGPT when it came out. I hadn't even looked at Whisper, which is basically a voice analyzing machine. You know, basically it can transcribe voice to text extremely accurately, even if it's bad audio and really fast. It's pretty interesting. Is that can leaning? Oh, it's definitely leaning.
Oh yeah.
Purple cup,
Yeah.
lean in the cup.
Yeah, it's that special
Purple lean.
that perp, you know. So, all right, let's play this video real quick, and then we'll talk about it. So this is interesting. I hope you guys can hear it. Hold on, turn the volume.
Somebody transcribed Andrew Huberman's entire podcast with OpenAI's Whisper, and then using GPT-3 turned it into a chatbot so you could ask your questions like, how much magnesium should I take? It gives you the right answer, and then even shows you all the episodes where it's being discussed. You can also search the entire podcast for individual words like neurotransmitters, which would also surface semantically related concepts like dopamine and serotonin. Check out the website and follow for more.
So again, this just got my Whisper. This is something I've been trying to do for us for a long time, basically indexing all of our content, and we could go back and search like, give me anytime DZ said the word Cardano, and there's all the videos of any time we talked about it, and we could pull specific clips and all that sort of stuff. Now, obviously, this is a text-based format. It sounds like played an entire podcast for Whisper, got it all transcribed, then used ChatGPT to make a chatbot related to it, which is fascinating what you can do with, again, you're using all the information in OpenAI to make your own chatbots. You can do so much more than just chat with ChatGPT. That's just kind of one iteration of it, which again gets your brain going on a million different things to do. So it's
going to be cool seeing the plugins that come out from this, because
Right?
you know they're going to have a Joe Rogan plugin or a
Yeah.
Dr. Oz plugin. It's like, Joe Rogan, what should I do to get a six pack? Then you ask Dr. Oz, then you ask Jillian, then you ask Good Morning America, then you know. So that's going to be interesting. I would go with the Rogan advice on the six pack though.
I would too. Yeah, he's probably he seems
Elk.
I'll take Rogan over Good Morning America when it comes to. He would say elk. Is that what you're saying?
I was saying, Rogan eats a lot of elk.
Does he take?
And it's just kind of
doesn't-
a meme, but he just eats so much elk.
He does steroids too. So probably say that.
He's
Does
of
he?
age.
He's admitted HGH.
Yeah.
Yeah.
HGH. Okay, gotcha.
And I think hormone replacement therapy, which is pretty
Basically
normal.
steroids. Yeah.
of
Pretty
people
common
do.
these days.
Yeah.
I used Otter to transcribe my stuff for like 2 years. I don't know what that would be. A lot of clips has mentioned. Yeah, DZ's mentioned Cardano a lot. Yeah, you're right. That would be a lot of clips. But I'm just so. I guess I can't stop talking about ChatGPT. I'm very fascinated by it. The cost to run it blew my mind. Is very high. I'm not shocked that it was high. Like if you think about every time I try to get on there, it's saying, "Oh, we're having really high server load." Like everybody's trying to do this right now, so it's not shocking when but it's a free tool. It's just, I don't know. It's interesting. It's like Google, obviously, kind of what Drew was saying. Data is the value. You create a free email service and everybody uses it. Like that always trips me out when you think about how much information Google gets from all of our emails. Like every email that was written, every attachment that ever gets sent. Legal documents that get sent back and forth. Like they have so much access to so much information.
It's crazy.
It's insane.
After I called you and interviewed you with you, then I got a bunch of scammers acting like you. I didn't even
Really?
call you anywhere. All we did was talk on the phone, and I had a fake TJ, 3 fake TJs
What?
coming after me, trying to get me to sign little links and stuff
No
like
What?
that.
way.
Yeah, it's
That's
creepy.
crazy.
It's way more advanced than we give it credit for right now, and we will see that in the next decade.
Yeah, I agree. All right, we're gonna switch gears, try to talk a little bit of complicated stuff. Like I said, some of this is a little over our heads, so good thing we got our friendly neighbor Drew here to help us out. So at this point, Bank of Japan has pulled the goalie and is hoping for last. By the way, this is a bunch of different takes in a bunch of different ways, so hopefully one of these makes it make sense to us. I played hockey. This one resonated with me. But Bank of Japan has pulled the goal and is hoping for a last-second trying goal, maybe get to the overtime, maybe somehow pull it out, except they're down 5-1. The game is over, and they just don't know it yet. So that's one take on what it is. Now, here's a more in-depth explanation. Japan will now allow 10-year 10-year yields to trade as high as 0.5%. And while this seems like a minor policy change, it's likely to cause some serious market volatility. Why? And here's the thread. Again, I'm just going to read this, and then we'll talk through a couple other ones. For years, Japan implemented an aggressively dovish, which means, more or less loose monetary policy stance. Bank of Japan rates were effectively pinned at 0% for decades. So we've been getting close. We've even talked about going negative potentially, but haven't really nearly as much and not nearly as long as Japan had. So Roxy, hi, want to offer promotion. No thanks.
But we still might love you if you're a real human.
Yeah, if you're a real human, you can hang out, but it doesn't. I'm not holding my breath right now. Yeah. Let's see. For years, Japan. Okay, yeah. So we got that scale here where basically here's their rates from up here all the way down to basically flatline. This was necessary as permanent quantitative easing had led to the Bank of Japan to own almost 50% of the Japanese government, or greater than 50% of the Japanese government bond market. Buying more bonds would seriously alter the functioning of the market. For days, there was basically no trades happening in the Japanese government market bond. So to keep the 10-year yields low, the Bank of Japan moved from targeting a quantity of bonds to buy QE, or quantitative easing, to qualitative measures. YCC? What is YCC?
Yield curve control.
Yield curve control.
Yeah.
There you go. Good job. It succeeded between 2016 and today. 10-year JGBs traded between negative 25 and so basically minus 0.25 and plus 0.25 basis points, which is what the Bank of Japan wanted. Why does this matter? Japan is a huge exporter of capital. This is what you and I were talking about this morning, Drew. Basically, what they do is they print free. Since the 90s, Japanese investors are used to look abroad for opportunity to deploy their domestic excess savings. When doing so, they consider both yield differentials and the cost of hedging foreign currency risks. For instance, this is where it gets key. As of July 2022, Japan is the largest holder of U.S. Treasuries in the world. Japan has accumulated over $1 trillion in U.S. Treasuries as it's a convenient way to recycle excess saving. Yields differentials were positive and often more than offsetting the cost of hedging. So you could get free money over here in Japan, and then you could go stick it in a very safe investment U.S. Treasury bond that you're going to get a fixed percentage on over X amount of time, and it's basically like you're printing free money. The chart below shows how convenient it was for Japanese investors to buy treasuries and cover the forex risk. They would, on average, get 100 to 150 basis point additional return than simply buying domestic government bonds. Bank of Japan decision today impacts this flow of capital. So when it was up here, it's great. When it's down here, not so great. Again, attractive for Japanese investors to buy forex hedge treasuries, not attractive. Basically above the line, below the line. They announced that the 10-year JGB can be now trade between 0.5 and so instead of going 0.25 and negative 0.25, now it's plus 0.5 and negative 0.5, which to me again doesn't seem like that huge of a adjustment. But apparently this is what bond futures thought about it. Like when it was a true surprise, which means there was no announcement. Nobody was expecting it. And then as soon as they made that change, boom, now they're way below that line. Core inflation is rising in Japan, and many analysts expect it to be stable around 2%. After years of relentless easing, can likely claim job done and set the stage for the regulator over there, like their Jerome Powell, could back out of this.
Kuroda. He's got a cool name at least.
Yeah, he does. Kuroda. And set the stage for a successor to set new monetary policy in 2023, a victory lap. Now, let me show you what the bond market really thinks about this BOJ decision. First, while economists and policymakers are more convinced inflation will sit at 2% in Japan next year, inflation swap traders disagree. So it's like, again, the regulators are saying it's fine, but the actual market is saying something different. Nevertheless, as the Bank of Japan controls half of the domestic bond market, it says a new monetary policy regime is applicable. Bond markets have to adjust to that. In Japan, it's very useful to look at swaps rather than bonds. Bank of Japan doesn't influence the market directly. He goes on a little bit more, and I'll retweet this because I thought this was a pretty good.
Alf is amazing.
Yeah,
I love Alf.
Good breakdown.
He's solid.
So, Drew, when we were talking this morning, you were talking about kind of the the import-export relationship between. Here we go. You got some questions in there too. Go ahead.
All kinds. Yeah, I mean, basically, they've remained at like a 0% rate for 2 or 3 decades. They're the largest holder of U.S. Treasuries. They've been kind of a backdoor for our Treasury Department to sell off bonds and not only additionally supplement quantitative easing with the sale of our Treasury bonds to that country, but it also provides, as it said, a safe vehicle for people in Japan to move into American foreign exchange. You know, you get a more expensive dollar from your zero rate dollar. And it worked well as long as the demand for manufactured goods continued and the flow of production continues, and that relationship continues between the U.S. and Japan. But now people don't have all the excess money to be buying random plastic goods that they don't really need anymore, so they're kind of constricting their purchasing plans and habits. And this economic system has never ran into what looks like to be stagflation. So seeing how they are able to kick the can down the road will be really interesting, because I honestly don't believe they can, which is why I'm so bullish on blockchain and tokenization of the financial sector.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is kind of a situation where exactly what he just said, they're trying to kick the can down the road, keep it alive a little bit longer, pass it on to the next guy. I think it's the Zeus 528 said, interesting to see how BRICS Plus moves in the direction,
Yes.
BRICS being Brazil, Russia, India, China, South.
Iran.
And Saudi Arabia.
No, is it Iran or is it?
I is Iran.
thought it was
India
India.
is the
India.
I,
Is it
but
India?
It's
yeah,
all-
but
thinking
Iran,
Yeah.
don't count Iran out. They're
Yeah.
in the mix.
Well, that's the
Iran, North Korea.
Yeah, there is some plus,
yeah.
so, but the core is Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and then there are Iran is part of the ones that are looking to move away from. That's why
Well,
I said,
I was confusing crinks and bricks. There's two different ones.
gotcha.
And they smell blood in the water. These
Yeah.
problems in our FX moves and these relationships breaking apart, this is exactly what BRICS has been waiting for. And a fun fact is that Goldman Sachs was actually the company to bring up the idea of BRICS out of Manhattan, 2001, in 1 month before September. In New York, brought up and slung the idea of BRICS around the world for world trade shift to come. And-
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting
they
how
are.
they're always ahead of that curve
I
and
know,
maybe
it's amazing.
creating the curve. Who knows?
Didn't happen.
Yeah, and that's kind of what the chat was saying here. Seeing countries consider pivoting in directions that are outside the U.S. influence is becoming more and more the case, which I agree 100%. And yes, you guys should communicate in highlighted only messages because it makes it much easier for me to see. So keep it up, Riddle with Puns. Yeah, if you guys don't know, if you're watching Twitch TV, thanks to Twitch for sponsoring the show. You do have channel points that you can use to make highlighted messages and do certain commands and make us do fun things, which we're going to come up with more fun commands in the future. So I'm gonna keep reading some of these. Sorry if it seems a little read heavy, but I feel like it's important information. This was a simplified version of it. Confused why the rate hike in Japan is so important. For decades and until today, anyone in the world could go to Japan and borrow yens for free, almost 0% interest rate. Then use that to get into risky bets with better returns, and that ended today. No more cheap money. Which I don't know. I haven't looked at this one yet. Let's see. Japan is spending 66% more than they are taxing their citizens. Japan debt equals 12.8 trillion. A 1% increase in its interest rates, 0.128 trillion, which would represent 23% of Japan's tax revenues. Holy cow.
Yeah, there's a big issue here.
Golly, this ain't good, guys. Yeah, that's an much easier way to explain it and understand it.
Yeah.
You know, they're financially screwed.
And this is what happens if you don't have kids. You know, this they are the bellwether for shrinking populations because they started at first like 2 decades ahead of all the other
Oh,
countries.
Japan is, yeah.
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 You
I was
wanna
like,
win
wait,
the
how
next
is having
war?
kids the bellwether for shrinking pop? Not have, yeah, I got you. Yeah, Japan. Yeah, yeah, guys, the easiest way to kick it down the road, have children so you can make the next generation pay for
Absolutely.
it.
Just
You know?
double
You
up.
just got to have 2.1. That's all you got to do. 2.1, and then we're on the path.
Yeah,
I
we
did
go.
my part. Okay.
Drew's got
I
4
did
kids.
my part. I
Drew
got
has
some
4 kids. Good job, Drew.
Thank you.
Yeah.
0, hope.
We were talking to Decker about this,
Oh,
this
boy.
right before stream. You know, just
You hope. You don't know. That Christmas
No, that
party
was a
must
joke.
have been,
It was a
must
joke.
have been fun.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
Must have been fun.
No, I'm trying to be comedic. That's all.
We got this other one, and this is how I felt when I was trying to decipher all this stuff. I love this meme or whatever. So equities bid because of weak dollar. The weak dollar is the result of the stronger yen, which was the result of the higher rates for the Japanese government bonds. Higher rates for Japanese government bonds lifts the bond yields, thus making equities less attractive on a relative basis, which, again, all that stuff I just read, said in a few sentences,
What a mess.
Hopefully some of this stuff made it a little bit more decipherable. Oh yeah, this is the second question. He asked this.
I am curious. What are your thoughts on filament? I'm already intrigued, and I want to buy a couple pounds.
Crypto Thorn
yeah.
said, do you
How many
own
ounces?
a 3D printer? If you do, have a stash of filament on hand, and how many pounds? Great idea to keep one on hand for tools and other items you might not be able to find if the world crumbles.
This is for you, Drew.
I don't own a 3D printer. I'd rather
Really?
just learn how to make rope and trebuchets. If we're to that point, you may as well just harvest some trees around you and make a nice big slingshot.
Hey, slingshot, huh?
There you
They
go.
work, okay? They work. In 3D printer, it's cool for stuff.
Have you ever hunted or killed anything with a slingshot?
Absolutely.
What?
Oh, okay.
Slingshots are awesome, man.
They are
Yeah,
awesome.
they
are
I had a
awesome.
slingshot when I was a kid. I had a blast.
Yeah,
it's great.
See, get it? But yeah, I mean,
Chem-
it's like,
I'm gonna watch
there's all
this.
kinds of
Chemistry
ways.
Bro said he has a 3D printer, but I only have resin printers, no filament printers. Yeah, the aging population problem is really obvious with Japan. If you look at the ratio of adult diapers to children diapers being bought, they're swayed massively towards adult
It's a real
diapers.
thing.
Can we do some TA on that chart?
Wow.
That's real.
Some
Yeah,
TA
it's
on
like a
the-
real ratio that's watched.
I mean, actually, it's a pretty good indicator, but I bet you get some Frankie on some TA on that chart.
Sofa King says, I follow a guy called Print Shoot Repeat that does amazing work with a 3D printer.
I mean,
Given the name, no, never mind.
don't get me wrong. I'm intrigued by it. I just, I haven't gotten there yet. But
ATF.
I have a buddy who, the Hero Association, he runs an airsoft crew, and they play with British SAS, and they print all kinds of stuff. And we've messed around with them for sure. But
At my last job, we had a 3D printer there, and I used to walk by it almost every day. We didn't really use it for much practical stuff, but it was interesting.
Misfit TV asked, any idea when US will start pushing CBDC? Been a little out of the loop for the past year.
I think they already are pushing the CBDC. They're saying they're going to be partnering with private companies. My pick is Circle. I think USDC is the United States CBDC. It's literally USD coin. Was started. Speaking of Goldman Sachs, as Drew was talking about, funded by Goldman Sachs. They started this other company called Circle. Also very interesting. The same time BlackRock was investing in FTX, they made huge investments, I believe in 2021, into Circle, one of the primary holders of USDC. I think USDC is the United States CBDC. They're just going to sneak it in on us.
Yeah.
All right. Last story of the day. I had something else I was going to read about. I'll save it for tomorrow. But 1/3 of singles are ready to date in the metaverse. Speaking of population concerns and issues, data from a new survey from dating.com says the metaverse can help propel dating into the future, especially as avatars become more reflective of users. And I'm actually I think this is when I first read it, I thought it was ridiculous and stupid. I'm gonna kind of change my tune on this. If you think about dating apps, whether you're messaging and talking over text, I could see a app where you're getting, it's basically private voice video chats, but they're a lot more personable when you can hear and have an avatar. Thoughts? Anybody?
I cannot
Yeah.
shake the image of Demolition Man. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say that.
What is
Okay, I still wipe with seashells.
Okay. Fine.
The Demolition Man, they don't have physical contact. They wear basically a VR helmet,
Yeah.
and then it simulates it, and it triggers the necessary
The movie,
climactic
right?
response there. I don't think it's that far of a stretch because, online dating wasn't a thing, say 15, 20 years
Yeah.
ago, and now it's a very, very common thing. So why not just have the first date be a VR thing? It's like, okay, you're basically talking on the phone, but now I can kind of see your mannerisms.
Right.
Maybe I see what you think your Nintendo Wii bit would look like, and maybe it's going to kind of look like you. So maybe I can kind of see if I'll be attracted to you. But it's not that much of a stretch just from messaging on Tinder to have a talk session.
I agree.
While wearing goggles.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
When I first read it, I thought, it's stupid. Kind of like probably a lot of people did. I like the analogy of online dating. Like the people, that's stupid. Why would you ever meet somebody online versus meeting in person? But then you start to think about it, and you're like, okay, it's just the next iteration of communication. Like you just said, texting, you get something. If you're talking on the phone, okay, now I can hear voice inflection and, accent, demeanor, voice expression, all that sort of stuff. And then when you're in a metaverse, I was surprised, like even the first question, like, what's the difference between having a Zoom call and having a meeting in a metaverse? And it's like, well, it actually does feel more personal. You can hear people, like if they're looking towards you or not looking towards you, it makes a difference.
Not only that, with the Zoom, you don't know if what they're doing. Are they playing League of Legends? Also, in the metaverse, do they keep doing the Sharon Stone to me?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, maybe there's that's a little sign.
That's what I'm saying. There's so much more body language you can use to communicate. What do you think, Decker? You're in the dating game.
Well, what? I do have a girlfriend now.
Yeah, that means
Recently in the dating game.
that means you're dating, right?
Yes, I'm in the dating
That
game. And
means-
I did meet her on Hinge. Sorry if I'm blowing out the mic here.
No, you're good.
I did meet her on Hinge. So yes, there's something to say about being, being a new iteration of online dating. However, in this case, maybe it's not that big of a deal, but I mean, I feel like catfishing might
huge.
be a big.
Whoa.
Hey, yo.
Like these guys being behind the screen. acting
Yeah,
like girls.
it's like,
Probably what it would.
But then again, if you already
look
see
like.
that, if there's like a profile connected to it, and you can see the pictures beforehand before you see their avatar, I can see ways around it. But I just think that might also be kind of an issue. Is like, and then also what market segment base of people who are going to be on dating apps also have a VR headset? You know what I mean? Like, I think that's another kind of barrier. Is like, I just don't think enough people have VR headsets in their hands yet to make it practical. It's not like it's a cell phone, right? And so
Yeah, but you could. So AltSpace VR is you don't have to have a headset. You can interact with it on a 2D basis, and you don't have as much access like the things in your hands. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. The survey revealed that 1/3 of all respondents said they're open to relationships with people not in their geographical region. I think that's a big part of it.
No, I can't do that.
No, so
That's where you're going to see the break. 'Cause,
Yeah.
Also talking about shrinking population, you want to
Yeah.
talk about like, we've been dating for 8 years. We've seen each other twice. Well, okay.
Are you dating then?
Yeah, and the average amount of kids at one point it was 2.5, then it fell to 2. Once we fell below that, that's when it started getting scary. I think Drew, what are we at 1.5 now? That's where we're going to get into like 0.7, 0.6,
Whoa.
and it'll be real rough.
Yeah.
No.
But I want the haptic feedback suits, and then I'd be willing.
Yeah,
to
we
go.
have some.
I'm
Where
gonna get
are
aggressive.
they? We have 4 haptic
I'm getting
suits.
mad aggressive with it. Too.
I can't. We have haptic suits somewhere in this building. We've had them for like a year, and I don't know where they are and why we've never played with them.
J-Chains probably has them.
Have you guys seen China trying to get people to like go on dates and have children now? They like totally reverse their stance on their population because they realize that they F themselves by.
See Bubba's crypto. No, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's
That's
pretty-
wild.
Yeah, that's the full
Messed up.
ramification of not having children. You can't move your society forward after a few decades.
And
so.
that's going to be a compounding issue because the thing with kids is you kind of have the amount of kids that you were used to growing up. And there's obvious exceptions, but when you come from, there's 8 brothers and sisters, and I had 6 kids. You don't really see people say, I was an only child, and then I had 8 children.
Right.
So China, they just went from, back in the day, I don't know, do the math. Someone could fact check me. Probably had 4 or 5, 3, 6 kids like normal families did in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s.
Right.
Boom. Everybody is just only single child. And now these people are expected to have 2.5, 3 kids. It's not going to happen. They're going to have 0 to 1 kids because that's what they're used to.
It's a cultural disconnect at this point. Like, it seems strange. Hellfire Spawn, where's J-Chain's been lately? He's actually on doing other things now. Doesn't work with us in this building anymore. But you'll see him around, especially in the metaverse. So you'll see him around the metaverse. That's a good way to say it. The other thing that came up with this is digital identity, and more specifically identity in the metaverse, has been a major talking point for both users and developers last year. There's obviously privacy issues here. You've got how protected are these conversations in these chats? We were just talking about how much data they collect on everybody. What does that turn into? But again, I have a mixed feeling on this. Yes, it's important. Privacy matters. We need to understand and have the conversation. At the same time, we just need to understand, look, it's trade-offs. If you want to use some of these if you want to use a smartphone, you're going to be trading a lot of personal privacy, and it's up to you to make that decision. If you can operate without a smartphone, great, more power to you. If that's the trade-off you want to make, so that's usually my opinion when it comes to privacy and all that sort of stuff. It's something to be fought for. It's something to be mentioned and cared about. But it's also, you got to live in the real world too. You got to know where. Yes, that is correct, Misfit. All right. Well, last thing here, because we're running short on time. I did want to watch this video. I just thought it was interesting. Speaking of security, speaking of self-custody, it's big on it, and basically, Jameson Lott posted this. He said, this video of Police in Nevada searching a suspect and finding a seed phrase is pretty wild. Imagine having your seed phrase become part of public record due to being captured. So literally, I'm sure this thing's completely wiped out. Hopefully he didn't have anything on it. They'll show it here in the minute, like, what is this thing? You know, and there's almost like, that's that crypto shit. You know, like, what? Yeah, watch. Do I need to reconnect?
Yep. Give it a little reboot.
Off and on again.
Hold on, guys. This dang vMix capture.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Before we watch this video, don't keep your seed phrase on you at all times.
Yeah, I don't know why
Put it
you
in a
have it on
safe
him.
place that isn't
In your
going to
back
catch on
pocket.
fire, isn't going to get lost or damaged.
A piece
Just
of college rule paper. Although that's not the bad thing. It's just the fact that it's his back pocket.
Yeah,
But
sew it to the inside of your hat. Like
Yeah.
you do.
Well, and that's so on that note, we're going to look down in the comments below, and there are some tips and tricks on private key management. Some people use cipher on certain words, but here we go. Let's go.
Yep.
Wow.
And then I come up, he says, like, oh yeah, I know you, da da da. And then I don't even know how, yeah, how did I see the damn?
And Zach might be able to run state of Nevada.
Yep.
See if
Unless he like,
He's like, what the?
it's a fake one. Now, look,
it says ledger on it.
Yeah.
logger. Initial, government, step, brief.
And it's gone. Oh, stop the cell phone.
Hey, how you doing? That. I bet you see that thing right there. And then that's when he just says,
Get to it.
I know it would be on the normal state of Nevada badge.
Quick question. You have access to a database to see if somebody was staying in
so there's like steps too. I don't know what siren.
Oh, this is
Oh my
this
god.
is that crypto shit. This is
Seed phrase.
this is the crypto
Oh, okay. That's
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, okay. Like, yeah.
I'll look
telling you
it up.
guys
Yep.
it's randomized.
Okay, okay.
So he might have insurance stuff.
So I was actually impressed, you know, that somebody did recognize it. You know, it's obviously it's a little bit. I mean, it's not funny. Obviously, somebody's getting arrested and they probably lost their Bitcoin there. But it is interesting. We have had conversations even here. Somebody from I think it was ATF or FBI or who was it that was talking to Justin Williams about getting some on-chain analysis? Do you remember, DZ?
Ooh, can we?
Is the FBI right or is it Department of Justice?
It
Or?
was the FBI.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
the FBI.
So we don't. I mean, again, we
Yeah,
know there's a lot of regulatory bodies trying to get better at understanding this stuff, looking into this kind of stuff. You know, some people in here were saying, let's see if it's in here. Ghost. Blah blah
Or,
blah.
no, that was the SWAT. FBI was here for a different thing.
Yeah.
SWAT team was wanting help. Our local SWAT team wanted help.
Gotcha.
Oh, really?
Why?
On the
Give me
swatting
the seed
stuff.
phrase now.
Yeah.
they wanted to learn about crypto.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, we're seeing
Like on-chain stuff.
government agencies are you know, whether it's all, we've got 87,000 new IRS agents, we've got law enforcement agencies gearing up to this stuff. They definitely are looking to learn and understand. He even said, remember I told you guys about that, you know, these seed phrases, and they're like, oh yeah. So it was interesting. I wish I saved them. Some people saying basically that self custody isn't foolproof, and having everything all in one place also isn't foolproof. You need to have them in multiple places, multiple seed phrases. Does anybody? That's what I was gonna say. Do you guys have any tips and tricks without blowing your own operational security? Tips and tricks for seed phrase management.
All right, so I have each word in a different country,
Oh my
and I have to fly there, and I have to crack a case that it takes me an hour to. No, I'm just kidding. But I keep it in a safe, and I keep my safe safe. So
Yeah, there you go.
that's
And
it.
you want it to be
Just remember.
fireproof, waterproof. Yeah. You say memorize?
No. Well, that is obviously a lot better advice. No, remember where you have it. Because I kind of remember, you know, first being in it, you write down a seed phrase, and 6 months later, you're like, what did I write that on? Where did I
Yeah.
write? Did I write it down? Just remember it and take it kind of seriously.
Drew, all right, go ahead, Decker.
Oh, I was just gonna say, don't keep it on your Google Drive. Don't keep it electronic.
Don't.
I know it's
yes.
I know it's like very much an instinct. Like, oh, crypto's all computers. I gotta put it on a piece of metal on a piece of paper. I think just keep that insulated from your computer. And also, it isn't a bad idea if you have a third party maybe a family or a very close friend that you trust, like that's your beneficiary of your will, have a copy of your seed phrase in a safe at that location, just in case you get into a plane fire and you lose your seed phrase, something like that.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Great advice. Tom, hi. Bud Lightyear said he gives it to his girlfriend. Chemistry Bro said don't keep screenshots of it. If you lose your phone or get hacked, it's gone. Great advice, Drew.
The least obvious place to hide something from a criminal is the most obvious place.
There you go.
The first place they're going to go to is your safe. Then they'll look in your mantle or your little table next to your bed, in all your jewelry spots. So think about a seed phrase, a piece of paper. There's a lot of books and magazines and useless things that people will not take the time to go through if they should break into your house.
Okay, so if anybody goes to Drew's house, we're all searching his bookcase. Let's go.
Bookcase, behind picture frames.
I think BJ does something interesting where he keeps it in like poems or something. So he must have gotten a seed phrase, maybe Googled the words and said like, all these words are in this poem. And then he Googles the same thing for like his 6 other words. And then he knows those 2 poems. So his is very safe because he has like a little mechanism to figure it out.
Well, yeah, some people, it's like cipher. They they kind of encode them and they'll write it down. So even if somebody finds it, there's certain words that are encoded. Hellfire Spawn said I have titanium plates and 316 steel washers. I hammered mine. Let's see. I keep mine 12 and 12 different locations. Somebody said laminate it. I'll say this. I read something that I thought was pretty interesting. There's 2 ways to test your self-custody. And I thought these were really good tests to say, like, am I set up for a true, needing my seed phrase? One was if you are not at your home and you do not have, if you lose your cell phone and wallet and your house burns down and everything, including everything in it, could you recover your funds? That's test number 1. That's a simple, and that comes to Decker's point. And a lot of people have said storing backups in multiple locations is one, because obviously if you've got a piece of paper and it's in your house and your house burns down and you don't obviously have access to a hot wallet or something else where you've got it backed up, then you're in big trouble.
Yeah,
so that's test number 1. Test number 2, if you were to die unexpectedly, could your next of kin recover recover your funds if they didn't have access to it, is test number 2. Those are and if you can have good OPSEC, which again, do everything these people said, have multiple copies, don't put it in obvious places. You need it fireproof, you need it waterproof, and you need to be set up to recover it if everything in your house was gone. I feel like those are very good tests. There's a bazillion different ways you could do it. Like somebody said, you could have somebody else hold it. You could bury it out somewhere. There's a lot of different ways you could do it. You could encode it in a poem. You could encode it in something else. You could memorize 5 words and write down 6 words. You could write 6 words over here and 6 words over there. There's tons of, you can have it in a safety deposit box and a copy here and a copy there. That's a lot of people do those kind of things. There's a variety of different ways to do it, but I just wanted to take a minute to kind of share some tips and tricks, talk about what's important, but being able to recover it if you lose your phone and if you don't have access to everything in your home, very important. And then the next of kin thing is something that a lot of people do not think about, because, hey, guys, accidents happen. That's why they're called accidents, and you need to be prepared. If you've been spending your time and your energy and storing all your excess energy into this one asset, you want to be sure that you'll be able to pass it on after you're gone. Otherwise, what's the point, right? Multi-sig wallet, great thing there that didn't get mentioned. Hodl gang. Multi-sig wallet is a digital wallet that operates with multiple signature addresses. This means it requires more than one private key to sign an authorized crypto transaction, or in some cases, several different keys can be used to generate a signature. Just memorize your seed phrase. That's true. You can also set limits like, hey, I want to have a multi-sig on my wallet above, $10,000 transaction. So I can do all sorts of different transactions, but if anything real, like if somebody ever comes in and tries to clear out the whole thing, we need 3 different signatures on it. There's a lot of different ways to do it. So yeah, be safe out there. Store your private coins. Store your private keys safely.
Yeah.
Don't let the cops take them.
Store coins privately.
Privately.
That kind of works. I don't know. Sorry, I was trying to help.
Thanks, Decker. Decker's always helpful. We love having him here. We'll see you guys soon. We're going to be rating Hit Network Gaming. They're doing a lot of fun stuff just in the other room. I heard him screaming and yelling just a second ago. So I know you guys love Joel. I know you guys hang out with him after this all the time. So we love you guys. Crimson Caravan Company, Corey J. Harden. I will not forget you this time. Music Maven, 75901, riddled with puns, Hodel Gang. We love all you guys. Loomart. We'll see you guys next time. We'll talk tomorrow. I'm going to go over a good thread about how to talk to people about Bitcoin.
Have a good afternoon.
Crypto shit.
Bye.